Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Options Mentor. Well, we ended this week with the market having hit, the SPX hit an all-time high and then backed off a bit. And the VIX is creeping up again about 17 and a half as we look at the week ahead that has a lot of Fed speakers, some other economic announcements, and supposed to be a non-farm payrolls on Friday. But if the government shutdown continues, that still won't happen, I suppose, and that still ongoing. Some talk of using breaking the filibuster. There's also some rumors that Democrats will settle after Election Day on Tuesday, that they'll come to the table. They want to see how the election goes first. So I don't know what to believe. There's rumors flying everywhere, but I think the tension of the government shutdown is beginning to ramp up, and that could show through to the market also, although it many times is oblivious to that type of thing in our current state. Is this current zombified market over the last year or two is pretty much oblivious to almost everything other than tariffs, I guess, gets their attention. Oh, by the way, the Supreme Court's going to hear that case on tariffs this week. I don't know if there'll be any market reaction just off of them hearing it, but if they have some oral arguments and people think the justices are leaning one way or another, that could influence the market. I mean, the market would definitely be very favorable to the tariffs ending. Of course, they don't want those. So let's look at what we got going on here. I'm going to share my screen and talk about what we can do ahead in this week. So, as I said, the market, the SPX in this case, just off of all-time highs by Friday. And you see the VIX over here is creeping up a little bit. So we're in that kind of not in low VIX, not in high VIX by any stretch, kind of in that mid range. So I want to talk to you about a trade we've used a lot here and how you could possibly use it this week in the SPX or any S&P product that has options that you might want to use. And that is the double diagonal. So we can see this double diagonal I have modeled here, and it's incredibly wide. Look at this. Between the break evens, you have a break even down at 66.80 essentially, and all the way up at 69.80. So it's about 300 points wide as it sits here. Now, with volatility and everything, particularly if volatility goes down, that can certainly contract. But what I have done here, modeling this thing a little bit differently, just to show you the difference. It's fine to do either of these. Now, normally I would do buying the 6,900 call in this case, selling the 6,905, buying the 6780 put, selling the 6770 put, which is 5 points wide call side, 10 points wide put side. And you can see in the center on expiration, you make around $1,100. Trade costs you about $1,400 if it's 3 days wide. Now, look what happens if you go 10 points wide on the call side. This is why I generally don't do this. But if we bought the 6,900 and sold the 6,910, you can see the downside looks much worse. If we went to 6,710 with 10 points wide on the call side, we're down 261 bucks. If we do it the way I normally set it up, we're down less than half of that. And then on the upside, though, you're down a little bit up here, but it's fairly balanced no matter which break even you go to, which is why I do it 5 points wide. But I say all this to tell you, you could do 10 points wide if you're a bull here. Like if you're not exactly, predicting an up move, but if you wanted to lean bullish, you could do it 10 points wide on the upside, at the top side, and 10 on the bottom. Now you're going to be in a little more trouble, obviously, if it goes down because you didn't sell a call that was priced as high as a call would be. The 6905 call is going to be worth more than the 6910 if you sell it out there. So you're going to have, less of a break on your total spread up there because you didn't sell the higher price thing. You sold a lesser price thing to balance against your long. But you could do this. Now, when volatility goes up as we went down, which it would go up, you could get a little lift here. Probably wouldn't be down quite this, but it would be worse on the bottom for you for sure. But I'm going to, leave that up to you. If you want to do this trade and be leaning a little long, which I understand this market does have that propensity, as we all know, or you could just do it the traditional way and take a more balanced approach and do it 5 up and 5 down. Now, as you guys know, who've been around here, what I like to do is try to get 8 or 10% of whatever I paid for the trade. That's per contract, of course. So if I bought one contract at $1,400 here, I'd like to get 140 bucks or something close to it. And when I did, I would get out. Now, people often ask me, hey, Mark, what if I'm up 10% and we're still in the middle? Can't I keep it on? Well, you could do that. But many times what happens is the market will get to moving and now you won't be up 10% anymore. A lot of people, I've seen people ride this to a loss. So I always encourage people to take that 10% when you have it. It's hard to make 10% in anything in a week or so, which is about what you'd probably be in this trade. So I think it's a good idea to take it. Now, sometimes when people are a little more obstinate and they just have to have it, the greed's kicked in and they don't want to get out at 10% because we're in the center. I encourage you highly to at least take half, if not more of it off, and to have a very tight leash on it. So what I'm saying here is if you were up 140 bucks here in the center, you should take it off. But if you don't want to and you want to, take that chance, well, take off half of it. If you have something you can have. If you have a one lot, you can't do that. But if we had on 2 contracts, 4 contracts or something, and you could have it, you can do that. But I would say this, if you find yourself only up 6 or 7% because it did move on you, I would take it off there. Don't ride this thing all the way down to 1 or 2% or nothing, the other half that you leave on. So be very careful with that. Still, no doubt, the best plan of action is to take it off at 10%. You can always put on another trade, but it's good to have that on. And many times by the time you get 10% in this, you'll probably been in it a few days. Like if you put this on tomorrow, maybe by Thursday or Friday, you're up 10%. Just take it off, and then you could go out probably to the following week, whatever that would be, like the 21st, the week before Thanksgiving, believe it or not. And maybe put on the same thing if our volatilities are still in this similar range. Now, I also wanted to cover one other thing. I had somebody ask me in the comments again this past week. I've been asked before, show trade repair or adjustments. You will never see me do that on YouTube. Never. That is something that I teach every day over at arimer.com. All the links are in the description. If you want to join me every day or get one-on-one mentoring from me, where you will certainly learn those things, the links are in the description. You can email me there for one-on-one mentoring or to find out about it. And all the other things, my trade alert service, all my courses, just put out that 2025 update, which updates all the main spreads we use, combo trades, double diagonals, calendars, all updated in one course. It's for sale there. You can find that link also in the description. But if you want to learn how to adjust, repair trades, which I've found, I've taught this a long time, people generally, over 90% of people, if not more, need to hear this over and over and over and over again to have it really sink in. And there is some nuance to it, to be sure. And you can pick up that on over time also. By the way, if you follow me on my trade alert service, where I put on trades, send them out before I put them on, so you can put them on before every adjustment. I tell you what I'm doing, then you can do it before I do it, that type of thing. You can also learn what I'm doing that way. But if you want to learn how to fully manage a trade, repair it or adjust it, whatever you want to call it, you will have to join me over there. I will not be showing repairs on YouTube. Okay, but I do appreciate y'all being here. Please hit the like and subscribe. Please consider joining me every day over there with the links in the description. And I will be back here next week with another edition of the Options Mentor. Have a good week, and I will talk to you then. Bye-bye.